Welcome everybody to the Kingdom Live, Thursday afternoon today. We're dual cameraing for the first time, so Adam's just straightening things up there. Welcome, Adam.
Hi, Zan. Hi, how you going? Now, you should see how we've got this thing set up.
Oh, wow.
It's just ridiculous. We've got like 4 of us here.
Sorry if we're a little crooked.
Yeah, that's all right.
Today we're going to talk about an interesting topic.
Very interesting, Zan.
And we're probably going to need to drill down a little bit because it's a little bit complicated.
Not really.
Well, it's not, but
No.
to explain it, it's going to be a challenge.
That's why it's called an explainer video, Zan.
Excellent.
Okay, explainer video.
So does your sales pitch as a business match internet reality?
So, good question, right?
Good
So
intro.
what we're talking about there is a situation where, now obviously the consumers have their power, have the power from a sales perspective in their hand. They've got their mobile phone, they've got the desktop internet, they've got everything available for them as they need it. Now, this is very intense for salespeople because if you start selling something that's not factually correct, you may well have a consumer on the other end of the telephone or even in your own shop actually physically sitting there Googling to check your facts.
Yeah.
And so this exposes you big time. And so, it's normally all the time we actually see this mismatch where what is actually going on in the marketplace is vastly different to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's a huge issue because if you start talking price, and we've all been there, I guess an airline experience is a good one where you might talk with a travel agent, they talk about flying you somewhere, and the first thing you do is go to Zuji or Webjet and go and check out if that really is the price of those fares. And so straight away, that consultant can be embarrassed if they haven't actually successfully done their homework, and it looks like it sort of evolves. Well, it's got a couple of things about this. One is that you've got to be making sure you've got reality when it comes to the price and the situation, but also making sure you communicate your value. So if you do get price checked, that the value for money proposition comes into it more than just the bare bones of the price.
So from a content marketing perspective, we talk a lot about the trust and building the trust. So if I'm pushing a quote out to a client who's then going to go and Google the result respectively and find something more beneficial in terms of dollars, how does that trust sort of scenario work?
Well, it completely evaporates. And so you're in a situation there where you were trusted, you may well be the consultants advising and you are getting trusted, but once they go and double check and cross check you, then you're in trouble because if you haven't lived up to what's out there, and this can happen with your own website. And so often sales and marketing are in different parts of the department and doing different things. So you've got to make sure that your own website actually has you're on the same page. It's very important.
So I guess it's no different to me walking into the chemist down the street and seeing my favourite makeup brand and going, oh wow, that foundation's there for X. I might just go home and Google it.
Yeah.
And I find it for a couple of bucks cheaper.
Yeah.
And then I go and buy it from online and my mate down the street misses out on the sale because of a price scenario.
Exactly. And it comes down to not just price, but for example, we've had a recent experience buying this very video camera where we were told that, there's been an earthquake in Japan by the salesperson. It's like, well, and so as a result, the stock supply wasn't there. And then the internet tells us that available to ship in 1 day.
Well,
and
literally 5 days later.
Literally 5 days later, we've got the camera. So, that doesn't add up. And I didn't see any information on the internet saying there's been an earthquake in Japan. So that was just crap. That's the bottom line. It was just
That's
rubbish.
excuse marketing. That's a whole other episode.
Excuse marketing, an entire another episode. They've gone to the excuse manager and got the latest. And we used to do that in the 90s. It actually happened in the 90s. We didn't quite have the excuse manager database. We talked about it when we were back at NextBite, selling computers and dealing with service departments that had tricky solutions. But it's not the 90s anymore.
No, it's not.
You can't just make up an earthquake in Japan. And look, it might have been true, but it wasn't on the internet, and so therefore it's not real.
Okay, so I get a quote into my inbox, I read it, I check it out, and then I go, hey, I'm just going to alt-tab into another window and do a quick Google search.
Totally.
And you can be caught out really quickly.
All the time, yeah.
What is it? 0.23 seconds?
0.23 seconds for 160,000 results. Google's amazing how fast it is. A lot of people at the back end of Google working very, very fast. Or technology, okay?
Yeah. They're not really people.
Oh, when did that change?
Oh, just recently.
Oh my God. So what we're seeing there is that, now this also manifests itself in terms of what actually happens if you do search yourself right now on Google. So,
as in, I search me?
Yeah, if you search your business, what you're selling on Google, what comes up? Because your website pages either may be dated or not actually on the same page as what your sales pitch is. And it's we've got 450 website pages, so it's quite easy to have dated content. So you need to be working very hard to make sure that your website content is up to date with what your sales pitch is, including price. I mean, one of the things we do when we're presenting live at public speaking gigs is we'll talk about how you must have price on your website. We've got a couple of great episodes on the Kingdom Live about this. And if you don't have price on your website, but then of course, when I'm doing the public speaking, people are in the audience actually on their phone checking what I'm saying. And so as a speaker, you have to be careful as well.
Yeah.
You can't just make stuff up, even though we love doing that, and I absolutely have made a lot of money making stuff up. But at the end of the day, the process is all about making sure that what's on the net validates what you're talking about in real live time. And it's harder than you think.
Well, it is, and we talk about this a lot. It's having control of your website, having the ability to go in and actually make that change on a daily basis, update stuff. As you learn something that's happening in your marketplace, can you make that change reflected on your website now?
Absolutely. And so the website that's dated is going to fail massively because you're going to be exposed as a fraud. But there is advantage in going back over your old content too, because you can repurpose that, rework it, recheck it for keywords, see how it's going. Because remember that keywords change all the time. We'll do an episode on that. But at the end of the day, you find that there's a lot of good value in going back over what you once had.
Yeah. Another question, I guess, to bounce around here is, are you actually price competitive? Do you know what's going on out there in your market? And this is probably a slight extension of content marketing, but what's your recommendation there in terms of knowing what's happening?
Yeah, well, so this is a huge... When we're doing sales training, which we do a lot of, it's very important that salespeople appreciate that going straight to a low, cheap price is actually not necessarily what the consumers want to see. At the end of the day, people will shop on value for money. And so it might be a higher price, but it's better value for money in the consumer's eyes. And so this requires a fair bit of research for you to understand. For example, going back to our Sony camera purchase, buying the very camera we're talking to, we were actually looking forward to potentially using the camera that afternoon. And so the retailer understanding their advantages over the internet is super important. So one of the things you can do here is make sure you totally appreciate, if you are in bricks and mortar or if you're on the internet, what are your distinct competitive advantages against the internet or vice versa, and list those advantages. If you have a shop, talk about how you have stuff in stock, you have a personal relationship, you have future ability to service, you have the ability to touch and feel and discover, all these different things. Now, if you have those things and you've got them actually listed, then you're a far better chance to actually get the sale. If you don't have them listed and you don't understand those differences, you're going broke.
You've just taken me back in time to Next Bite Days, Boskenner Avenue, where we used to spruik quite happily the fact that we had 11, not 10, but 11 free car parks.
Yeah, because town didn't.
Exactly. Yeah. If you went to the city, you had to pay for car parking. And that was a big differentiator for us.
It's all about knowing the features and benefits of your business and being able to articulate them, both on the web and in person, and making sure they match.
Exactly. So spend some time Googling, check out what's going on in your market.
Yep.
Sales and marketing. The two departments need to come together, don't they?
Absolutely. You can't have your marketing department at odds with your sales department. The sales department needs to feed back the information to marketing, and we talk about this a lot because, quite simply, if we're going to be doing a whole bunch of research on the internet first, that's a marketing job, but the content comes from the sales coalface, what the sales questions are that the salespeople get on a day-by-day basis. So you've got to have that information, so they have to meet. The first thing I would do is go and call a meeting, get sales and marketing in the same room and start just talking about all the challenges you face, and a whole bunch of great content's going to come out of that, and a whole bunch of revelations will come out of it as well. And as a CEO, you've got to buy into that.
Absolutely. Awesome suggestion. Very good. Anything else you want to add?
No.
I'm going to ask you to add your app of the day.
App of the day.
Now that the Olympics is over, you must have gained like hours in your day to be researching new apps.
Hundreds of minutes.
Excellent. Yeah. I can't wait to hear what you got for us.
App of the day is actually a little change and tweak to the Facebook interface. So there is now a shortcuts option to get straight to your Facebook ads section. So it's very nice. It's on the right-hand side panel, kind of underneath where the trending stories are. Yep. So you've got a little thing called Create Shortcut, and that will shortcut you straight to the ads manager for Facebook, which is getting better and better every day. It's been a pain for 2.5 years, but they've suddenly realised it's important, and it's getting better and better all the time. So, and if you're not becoming a gun at Facebook Power Editor and Facebook Audience Remarketing and Facebook Ads Manager, then you definitely have to. And if you don't want to, come and speak to us because we can help you.
Yeah, seeing some really interesting results in the last few weeks from some campaigns.
Loving
really
it.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Thank you for joining us today. We're dual cameraing, so we're looking in 2 spots. Hope that hasn't been too disconcerting for any of our viewers. If you'd like to see any of our previous episodes, you can do that on our website, which is thekingdom.com.au/the-kingdom-live. We will see you Monday. Have a great weekend and keep those suggestions for content coming through.
Thanks so much. Bye.